Objectives of the study. Number 1. Explain the background of eruption of Mount Pinatubo. Number 2. What specific areas were affected by volcanic eruption of Mount Pinatubo? Number 3. Identify the major hazard involved in the volcanic eruption of Mount Pinatubo. Number 4. Enumerate the exposed elements affected by the hazard. Number 5. In what category does the volcanic eruption of Mount Pinatubo belong? Number 6. Why the exposed elements were vulnerable to the hazard? Number 7. Preparedness plan to help your community prepare for hazard. Number 7. Possible preparedness plan to help your community prepare for hazard. Number 9. Strategies could have been taken to minimize the possibility of similar disaster occurring in the future. The background of eruption of Mount Pinatubo. The second largest, the second largest volcanic eruption of the century and by far the largest eruption to affect a densely populated area, occurred at Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines on June 15, 1995. The eruption produced high-speed avalanche of hot ash and gas, giant flows, and a cloud of volcanic ash hundred miles across. During the eruption of June 15, 1991, heavy ashfall had caused widespread damage in the province adjacent to Mount Pinatubo. As they covered large tracts of land caused the roofs of houses, buildings, and public facilities to collapse. These provinces were Zambales, Pampanga, and Tarlac. What specific areas were affected by volcanic eruption of Mount Pinatubo? The eruption of this volcano caused great damage in central Luzon, especially in Zambales, Pampanga, and Tarlac. Identify the major hazard involved in the volcanic eruption of Mount Pinatubo. Pinatubo eruption caused widespread impact across societal, economic, and environmental areas. Pyroclastic flows, lahars, as well as the ashfall hazard all resulted in damage and casualties. Several hazards may affect the area around the volcano, such as lava flows, pyroclastic flows, lahars, geocollaps, and landslide or debris, avalanche. Volcanic activity also produce hazard that can affect areas far from the volcano, such as tephra or ash falls, release of gas, and tsunamis. The exposed elements affected by the hazard. Exposure to ash can be harmful. Infants, elderly people, and people with respiratory conditions such as asthma, em- emphysema, and other chronic lung disease may have problems if they breathe in volcanic ash. Ash is gritty, abrasive, sometimes corrosive, corrosive, and always unpleasant. Small ash particles can abrade or scratch the front of the eye. Ash particles may contain crystalline silica, a material that causes a respiratory disease called silicosis. Enumerate the exposed elements affected by the hazard. The most common volcanic gas is water vapor, followed by carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide can cause breathing problems in both healthy people and people with asthma and other respiratory problems. Other volcanic gases include hydrogen chloride, monoxide, and hydrogen fluoride. What were the most common factors contributing the vulnerability of each these elements? Meron tayong apat na factors ng vulnerability. Number one is physical factors. Number two is social factors. Number three, economic factors. And number four, environmental factors. Volcano safety tips. Ito naman yung parang guide natin bago dumating yung volcanic eruption. Ano yun? Before, during, and after. Parang magiging guide lang natin to. And ito naman yung mga kailangan natin gawin. Dalin para maging safe tayo lalo. Recommend strategies that could have been taken to minimize the possibility of a similar disaster. Awareness, education, preparedness, and prediction, and warning system can reduce the destructive impact of a nature disaster on communities. Mitigation measures such as adoption of zoning, land use practices, and building codes are needed, however, to prevent or reduce actual damage from hazard.